morning. Keith Tebow from FRC Media. Thank you for joining us on this sunny Wednesday morning. It's actually, I guess, the third day of spring. And as we do just about every Wednesday, please be joined by the mayor of Fall River, Mayor Paul Coogan. Mayor, how are you?
Doing all right, Keith. How about you?
I am doing well. Thank you again for joining us. I want to talk, we talked a little bit about school department last week. I want to talk a little bit more this week. Superintendent Maria Ponce on Monday unveiled her plan for a fiscal 2024 school department budget, $226 million, the city receiving a big increase in funding from the state through the Student Opportunity Act. Just your response about, how well schools have been funded and how, you see that this budget will work well for the school department in the coming year.
Schools have done very well, both with the Baker-Polito administration and the legislature, and with Healy Driscoll. They're moving in the exact same direction, which is definitely a benefit for the city of Fall River. We have an additional $20 million, I believe, this year coming in with the Student Opportunity Act. I mean, I was looking back, Keith, I think it was 2016. The budget was $126 million for the schools. Now it's $226. So you're looking at $100 million increase in money. And that's not counting $1 of ESSER funds, which is another $50+ million that we have sitting there to help the schools. So there's a lot of resources available to the schools. And I think that bodes well for our students and our buildings and our families, obviously.
Right. Absolutely. As a follow-up to something we brought up last week during your State of the City address, you looked at filing a home rule petition with the legislature, which you're looking to help offset some of the city costs for education, primarily in transportation. There are some detractors out there that see that proposal and looking at the cost of transportation, which I believe is about $11 million for the coming year. Some detractors are saying that, that would be a cut in education if this home rule petition were to go through. And I know that's not your intent. So I'm giving you an opportunity to just clarify that, to let people know what your stance is with this home rule petition and how it won't impact education from your point of view.
It's always hysterical to me, Keith, that people that never, or that I know of, haven't been in a school since they left, tell people that have been in education their whole life what a cut is and what money means. If you look at what goes on with a city budget, right now, our bonding costs for schools is probably $10 million. Our transportation probably be $11 or $12 million. Our increase in our allocation under net school spending has probably gone up just in the last 10 years, another $10 to $15 million, while we fight with the 2.5 cap on our property taxes. It's definitely something that needs to be addressed on a statewide level for all communities. If Fall River, as we did with the lost revenue, I tell people this, comes out and leads a charge to change something for the better, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm very comfortable that there is almost no way that they're going to allow a home rule petition for one community to get this kind of assistance when there's so many of our fellow sisters and brothers in government across the state that need help also. I mean, the same battles going on in Taunton, the same battles going on in New Bedford. These increases in both the Student Opportunity Act and Chapter 70 funding in general are a blessing. They're just a blessing, but they do have some downsides to it. And for a community like Fall River that's experienced a $100 million increase in their budget, that's been able to bring in staff like we've never seen in my entire career in the Fall River Public Schools, it's the way we can target help for all of our kids, improve our buildings, expand our programs, and the money is flowing. But with that comes a cost to the city side, which, if we can find a way to impress people that school transportation, the way it's funded right now, is very, very inadequate. I made this case the other night during the city council meeting. If someone can explain to me why a student on Bay Street goes to Diamond and the state picks up 80% of the cost of that bus trip, and a student on Bay Street goes to Durfee, and it's 100% city funding, why that makes sense, then I will definitely do whatever is needed. But I can't, not one of these individuals can tell you that the 80% for Diamond is more important than the 80% we should be getting for a kid to go to Durfee. With that being said, it's the whole formula is wrong. I mean, you have sports overriding academics for net school spending. I mean, why don't they flip it? Give us the academic money and we'll take care of the sports side. But they don't want to go down that either. So my point is, this is a bill that needs addressing. If I'm able to shine some light on it, and I'm able to hopefully work with some other people, that I think we can expand this to some kind of a funding formula to help for transportation. That's my goal. I think that that's what we should be doing. I think no one, not one person, Keith, that has a different philosophy than I do on this, has said anything that makes me believe that transportation law is correct. No one says that. No one says, oh, that bill's right, that's the way we should do it. No, I don't believe that's not the argument. They try to characterize the argument as taking money from the schools, when in actuality it's trying to correct the transportation bill that needs addressing.
Yeah. So what what you're advocating is that the state pick up that, in the case of Fall River, that $11 million transportation cost. So in effect, there's no cut. There would be no cut. Is that correct?
Right. That's the best of all worlds. But again, we have to sit down and talk to people. I think that's what I'm going to push for. That's what my plan would be, to say, listen, you treat us like you do, because the word regional is in the Greater Fall River Vocational Regional School. The word regional triggers 80%. I mean, but I'm not allowed. Of course, I looked at it. If I could call the Fall River Public School Regional District, they wouldn't let me do that, because we have to partner with another town, which is not available right now, and then it's triggers a bunch of stuff. But I would do that in a minute if they said, yeah, put regional in your name. I would do that. That's not a problem for me, but that's not the way it works. We have to follow the law, work within the legislature, and do the best we can for the residents of the city.
Yeah. One final question on this. I know the home rule petition has to be voted on by the city council. Is there any chance that you can see that this would even get a hearing and get talked about before fiscal year 24? This is probably a longer term job here, right?
It's definitely longer term. And then they were saying that the other night about adjusting the budget for the schools. That's not even, I mean, I would love to see a correction made in something by then, but that's not where we are. That's not how government works in Massachusetts. This is going to be a grind. It's going to be a grind, and that's the way we're going to have to do it. But we'll work to do what's best for the residents of the city and what's best for the kids. And it's always funny to me. God, I get such a kick out of it. I had lunch yesterday at Durfee, and these people that think that they're gonna out education me on their cred and how they know more about what's going on in school. I haven't seen these people at events, sporting events, plays, theater. I'm going to see some vocational kids, student of the year. I haven't seen them there, but they definitely know how schools should run. I don't mind deferring to people that are in the police station. They know more than me. The fire station, they know more than me. But it's funny when you get into these debates about school stuff, and I'm looking at them, I'm going, I don't know when I've ever seen you in a school. So how do you know how they're running? Again, as I said, I have no idea what's going on in the TV studio at BCC. I'll defer to you, Keith. But at the same time, you have to respect people's knowledge. And I definitely spent a lot of time in schools with a lot of different superintendents, a lot of different school committees. And I was even on the school committee at Diamond, which is one of the reasons we're looking at this, because of the increased cost for the new school. We got to find a way around this. And that's all I'm trying to do, is find solutions.
Yeah. All right. Shifting gears, we have started spring, and I believe last week or early this week, I saw a street sweeper working in the city. It's that time of year. The street sweepers are out, I would assume, and I'm sure people will start seeing those. And I know you mentioned in your State of the City last week that one line on how you hate litter. So this is a way to start helping clean up, right?
Yeah, I gotta be careful what I say. Let's go with I dislike litter, because people are like, oh, I get hit on that too, Keith. But I really do want to use that word, but I'll use dislike.
Okay.
I hate the fact that people think it's okay to just throw stuff out the window of a car or throw a bag here and there. And we clean all the time. I mean, I've been there for the cleanups of the homeless camps. I've done street cleanups. So we're going to have 2 more street sweepers coming on in April, I believe. Right now we have 2 on the streets. I think if we get people's cooperation, they move their cars for half a day or a day and let us sweep these streets. I just know that some of the dirt has been sitting in those gutters for so long that we have to start breaking it up. And I am pleasantly surprised by how the streets look right now. I mean, we have a gentleman that lives across the street here in the Academy building, and I give him $20 out of my pocket to go pick up litter on Old 2nd Street and other areas of downtown. So, I mean, I'll do whatever I can to help clean the city. I think it's important. If the city looks good, it's reflected in the attitude of the people, and that's what we need to strive for.
You're also looking to plan on some, again, neighborhood cleanups like we've had in the past?
Yeah, again, we'll probably coordinate with Earth Day and try to get our first major cleanup going that weekend. And if we can get some people to buy in and cooperate, that would be great. We'll do whatever we can to get the city looking good for the summer and going forward. It's important that we stay on top of this litter issue and try to make people proud of Fall River. It's the way to go.
All right, Mayor Paul Coogan, as always, thank you for your time. We'll talk again next week. Take care.
Okay, Keith, thank you.
All right, and thank you for joining us, as always, here on FRC Media. Have a great week.